Okay, Be'ezrat Hashem, Naaseh v'Natzliach. I want to welcome you to another session of our Parashat Shavua learning here at Sharei Ezra. This week's Parashat is Parashat Ki Tisa. Before we get started, I'd like to give an honorable mention to our class sponsor, Henshi Gordetsky, who is doing this, who's sponsoring this class in honor of the Refuah Shelema to our father, Shalom Dover Ben Chaya Sarah. Also, this should be to the Refuah Shelema of Miriam Bat Penina Pesi. And Be'ezrat Pesi Penina. Okay? And also should be to the Ilun Nishmat of David Ben Zohara and Yaniv Ben Rina. And to the overall success of overall success of Stacy Esther Bat Miriam, and also for the Zivug Hagun Leinbar B'Jaklim V'Batchem B'Jaklim B'Mhera. Okay, let's get started. I didn't know, what's the name?
My name?
Yeah.
Oh, every time I call me.
For the lovely lady on the table on the right.
What's the name?
Mato Bridal. That Hashem should bless you, give you all the Torah blessings, should health, wealth, success, happiness, to you, to your family, and all that are connected to you.
Are you getting blessed for, what's it called? Refuah?
Yes.
So Remindel must go there.
And Suramindel Bas Golda, the Refuah Shelema B'Mhera, Amen. Okay. This week's Parashat is Parashat Ki Tisa, famously known for the sin of the golden cow.
Yeah.
Tonight, we're going to see this exact same story, but from a completely different angle. In previous years, we've found many different ways on how to stage the sin of the golden calf and this whole Chet HaEgel. But this year we found something very, very interesting, an incredible midrash that will change the way that you look at things. Let's get started. Let's just jump straight into it, and later on we'll get to the juicy part of the mega question of the night. First, let's start asking us the question: how did the sin of the golden calf come to be? How is it possible that a nation? Welcome. We just did the dedications of the first Lema. No, it's okay, but just want you to know that it happened, and we'll say it again probably before the end. So how is it possible that a nation of people, the Jews, after being in bondage and in slavery for over 210 years, are now and witness 10 miraculous plagues, the 10 miracles of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, how he smit all the Egyptians, and the splitting of the sea, and the rolling rock, Be'er Miriam, and the man, food from the heavens, and Ananei Kavod, the clouds of glory that is surrounding them while they were in Mitzrayim. How can such a nation, after such a short period of time, actually create a golden calf and worship it and say that this is our God? How is it possible?
Scared because Moshe didn't come down when they
Very good. That was last year's lesson. Today we're going to see something different.
And what's a rolling rock?
That's the Be'er Miriam. That was the rock that would give water to the Jewish people, and the merit of Miriam.
Okay.
So let's get started from the beginning. And this is going to be a whole different angle. That by the end of the class, you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised that not only do we see it from a different point of view, but we actually have something that we can do today to atone for the sin of the golden calf. Okay. So just a day after Har Sinai, which was Vav B'Sivan, on the 6th day of Sivan, when Moshe Rabbeinu ascended to the heavens for 40 days and 40 nights in order to receive the Luchot HaBrit, the tablets, Moshe Rabbeinu tells the Jewish people, I'm going to come down in 40 days from now. In midday, b'chatzot hayom shel yom ha'arba'im, in the middle of the day of the 40th day, I'm going to come back from the heavens. Wait for me. What happened there? There was a miscalculation. Moshe Rabbeinu gave them the exact 40 days and midday. They counted 40 days and the midday, but they didn't count the day that he told them. They counted the following day. So what happened was, the Yom Nosaf, this extra day that they missed on counting, ended up causing them to think that Moshe Rabbeinu was not coming down from the heavens. So when they saw that midday came on the 40th day according to their calculation, they were convinced that Moshe Rabbeinu died on the mountain. So here we have a miscalculation. 40 days and midday according to Moshe's calculations, 40 days and midday by the Jewish people's calculation, and because there was a misunderstanding in the counting, they thought that Moshe was dead. Now, on that same day, the devil comes and creates a scene, a whole show. שערבב את העולם והראה דמות חושך. He confused the entire world, and he made it look like very dark in the middle of the day, in order to almost like stage the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu is dead. Amar lahem, and he tells them, Met Moshe, Moshe died. שכבר באו 6 שעות ולא בא. Here, look, midday has come and he's not here. So you can see that above and beyond the wrong calculation of the time and date that he gave them, the cherry on top is that the devil himself came and created this scene and announced that Moshe is dead, and even showed like all this strange weather in order to add to the dramatics of the Jewish leader to being dead. So because of that, because of the miscalculation of the date, and because of what the Samech Mem has created as a dramatic scene, they decided to create a golden calf that will serve for them as a leader or as a god in the stead of Moshe Rabbeinu. And this is why the pasuk says, ויקהל העם אל אהרון ואמרו אליו, קום עשה לנו אלוהים אשר ילכו לפנינו, כי זה משה האיש אשר העלנו מארץ מצרים, לא ידענו מה היה לו. They're telling Moshe that all the people gathered on Aaron and say, hey Aaron, put something together for us right away, create a golden calf for us, because Moshe, the leader that took us out of Egypt, he's no longer here. We don't know what's with him. Now, all this is happening while Moshe Rabbeinu was still in the heavens. Oh, I'm sorry, not in the heavens, Rosh Hahai, on the top of the mountain. So Moshe Rabbeinu gets a message from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And he tells him, Moshe, and you have to imagine, this is after 40 days of 40 nights of being chavruta with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe, עם ישראל חוטאים כעת למטה במחנה, חטא חמור מאוד. The Jewish people are sinning a grave sin right now in the camp. And what is the pasuk that Hashem tells him? וידבר השם משה, לך רד, כי שיחת עמך אשר העלית מארץ מצרים. סרו מהר מן הדרך אשר ציוויתים, עשו להם העגל מסכה, וישתחוו לו, ויזבחו לו, ויאמרו, אלה אלוהיך ישראל שהעלוך מארץ מצרים. The pasuk says, that Hashem tells Moshe, לך רד, go down. By the way, over here, we know that Moshe Rabbeinu, at this very moment, he was on the highest spiritual level to ever be. He was on the 50th level. He entered the Sha'ar Nun, that there are only 2 human beings that ever reached the 50th level of wisdom, the 50th level of Binah. It's Moshe Rabbeinu and Rabbi Akiva. Those are the only 2 people that we know that reached that level.
Who's the other one?
Rabbi Akiva.
What's that?
He's a rabbi.
But he only learned Torah, stopped learning Torah when he was 40
So we
years old.
have, so when he says lech red, you know what's lech red? Take the word lech, it's lamed, which is 30, and chaf, which is 20. 30 plus 20 is 50. He tells them, lech, the 50, red. You got to go down. You got to go down from this 50th level. And Moshe Rabbeinu lost this 50th level at this moment. He was now only on the 29th level. Ki shichet amecha, because your nation is the one that's sinning. How can he say it's your nation? This is God's nation. This is Bnei Israel. But what we learn over here also, amecha, it's actually the Erev Rav. What's the Erev Rav? When the Jewish people were getting out of Egypt, there was a group, a multitude of people, of mixed people, that said, Moshe, we want to go with you. We want to follow the Jewish God. And they were called the Erev Rav. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told them, no, I don't want those people. Moshe says, no, let's bring them. Let's bring this Erev Rav. So when Moshe was at the top of the mountain, Hashem tells them, time for you to go down from this high level of the 50th level of wisdom and go deal with your people, the Erev Rav that you brought, because look what they did. They created a golden calf on the Egel Masecha. They're bowing to it. They're offering sacrifices to it, and they're also calling it Elohecha Yisrael Asheruch HaMitzrayim. This is the God that took you up from Egypt. Very interesting.
If the nation was willing to follow Aaron, why wouldn't Aaron try to lead them till Moshe came back?
Say it again.
If they all went to Aaron, why didn't Aaron try to lead them to keep them till Moshe came back? We had the power,
So-
clearly he was able to lead the whole nation into doing something.
So the question is, if Moshe is not there to lead it, why didn't Aharon lead it? Right? So when Moshe Rabbeinu went up to the heavens, he left two people in charge. He left Hur, which was Miriam's husband. Not Miriam's husband.
We learned this in one of
Hur
the classes.
and Aharon. They went to Hur first, and what they did is they stabbed him and they killed him. So Aharon was worried for his life. Why? Because Hur was a Navi. Aharon was a Kohen. There's a rule. If a Navi and a Kohen die on the same day, there's no coming back from that. There's no sort of a forgiveness for that. So Aharon said they just killed Hur.
I didn't want to destroy them.
He says, if they kill me, they have no coming back. So what did he say?
Why do they come back?
True.
Because there's no coming back when a Navi and a Kohen die on the same day. It's like one of these things that there's no coming back from it.
That's right.
So Aharon knew that. He says, if that's going to be the case, I can't let them. So what did he do? He dragged, he postponed, go get me gold. He created things because he knew Moshe Rabbeinu was coming down. But he was, imagine, as bad as they were, he was looking out for them that wouldn't happen. Because they so easily killed Hur. He said, if they kill me, there's no coming back. So because he cared for them, is why he did that, and he didn't lead them. There was nothing to lead. They were convinced that they needed a leader. So that was, we discussed it in previous years. So if we just stop here, we'll ask a question. When it says Lech Red, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe Rabbeinu, go down, and he takes away from him the 50th level. Was Moshe guilty? Was it his fault? Was it his fault that the Jewish people sinned with the golden calf? Was it, let's say it again even stronger. Was it Moshe Rabbeinu's fault that the Jewish people sinned with the golden calf?
Yeah. No.
No.
Yeah?
No.
No.
Okay, we have a very popular no,
Yes. Yes.
and we have one
I'm
yes.
sorry.
Okay.
Because he didn't tell them to count on that day that he told them to?
Yes.
Again, can we blame Moshe for the golden
He's
calf?
their leader. So
He's a leader. Yeah.
Right, but they sinned. He didn't. He's upstairs doing chavruta with HaKadosh Baruch Hu learning Torah.
he told them what to do though, but then he made a mistake by not telling them to count that day that he told them. Like,
Yes, so even if they miscalculated, does that mean that they should do a golden calf? So the question stands like this. Is Moshe Rabbeinu at fault? Did the Jewish people sinned with the golden calf? And here we begin the story. Here we begin the new angle of looking at Chet HaEgel. This is something that's going to be really, really different. You're going to see the story in a whole different viewpoint.
I never got it the first time, so I'll try to listen a million times and see if I get it this time.
Okay.
Because I never got it.
Did you say it was Moshe's?
Happy birthday, Henshi.
We're trying to find out.
Thank you very much for
Okay, no, no, it's okay. Stop.
sponsoring tonight's class.
Stop. I need to stop.
We're gonna.
No.
We did it in the beginning of the class, and Be'ezrat Hashem,
Yeah,
the end of the
I
class
was stuck
is
in
really
traffic.
Okay, so it's brought in the Midrashim that when the Jewish people were enslaved in Egypt, Moshe Rabbeinu, who was living in the castle of Paro, would go and see them, and he would see that the Jewish people were suffering. And not once and not twice, he would see that the wicked Egyptians taking taking Jewish babies from the hands of their mothers, and they would place them inside the cement of the bricks and into the buildings. So Moshe Rabbeinu would see actual babies being torn from the hands of Jewish mothers, getting put into cement, and the cement and the babies were put into the buildings. Now, Moshe Rabbeinu was so bothered by this, he began to cry to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he says, "Madu ata maniach lamitzrim la'oleh lekacha belevanecha?" Why are you allowing the Egyptians to torture your children this way? This is wicked. Is it not a shame that we're losing these Jewish babies, that they're turning Jewish babies into bricks? Is there no mercy on these children? HaKadosh Baruch Hu answers him. You're seeing the momentary suffering of these children when they're screaming out from inside the buildings as they're put in there as a brick. But I can see the future. If these children are going to stay alive, they're going to make a lot of trouble for the Jewish people. Wow, that's a harsh answer, right? Kadosh Baruch Hu says, Rabbeinu, you might think that this is a bad thing. I'm telling you it's a good thing. You're seeing momentarily, you're seeing a baby crying as a brick in a wall. I'm telling you, it's the best thing. Later on it'll be even worse. Okay? Bechol Zot, Moshe Rabbeinu was stubborn. And he says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please, let me at least save one baby. Let me save one child. And he did so. He took one child, he saved it, and that child's name is called Micha. Micha was, Moshe Rabbeinu asked from this child to please never leave his side. Be with me at all time. And you know what? You could be like my assistant, you could be my servant. And by doing that, by being with Moshe Rabbeinu, he'll be able to be holy. He could be kadosh. So we have Moshe Rabbeinu that saved one of these babies that was supposed to be one of the bricks. He called him Micha, and from the moment that he saved him, he was side by side with him as his servant or as his assistant. Now, when the time came for the Jewish people to leave Egypt, we know that all the Jewish people went to all the Egyptians to get clothes and jewelry, and Moshe Rabbeinu was busy with one mitzvah. What was the mitzvah? It was the mitzvah of collecting the bones of Yosef. The problem was, nobody knows where the bones of Yosef are. Nobody could figure out what they did. And the reason for that is the Egyptians knew that Yosef was the blessing to Egypt. And as long as his bones are in Egypt, the Jews will stay here because they knew of the promise that Yosef made. that when you leave Egypt, you take my bones. So what did they do? They created a special tombstone from him, made from metal, and they took it to the Nile, and they dropped his tombstone, his kever, inside the Nile. It sank all the way to the bottom of the Nile, and nobody knew where it was. So Moshe is looking and looking and looking and looking, and he can't find it. The Midrash says that Serach Bat Asher was the one that told him, because she was around from that time. She lived for hundreds and hundreds of years. So when he came to the Nile, where is Yosef? What is he going to do? So what did he do? He wrote, לקח טס של זהב וכתב עליו בקדושה גדולה עלה שור. He took like a little piece of paper, a tas, like a tassel, and he wrote on it עלה shor, rise bull. What does it mean rise bull, עלה shor? We know that Yosef is the shor, yeah, the symbolism of Yosef is shor. So he wrote on it עלה shor, rise shor. The Remos Yosef, that's Nimshal, he's connotated to shor. As soon as Moshe Rabbeinu put this tas into the water, Yosef's casket rose up on top of the water. Micha, who was his assistant, that was by his side at all times, what did he do? He went and he found this little tas that says on it, Ale Shor. He took it and he put it into his pocket. Now, when the Jewish people, when Moshe Rabbeinu was on the top of the mountain bringing the tablets for the first 40 days and 40 nights, and when he was late, and they decided that it's time to create an egel, that's what it's an egel. They took all, and what was the ploy or the plot that Aharon said? Go get me the ears from your wife's ears, right? From your children's ears, right? Because which woman wants to let go of gold, right? No woman wants to let go of her gold. So he thought maybe that'll be like a plot to slow them down. Ended up being that they came back with so much gold they had to stop them. And when everybody put this their collection of gold into this pile, Micha took this little tas that says on it Al Shor, and he threw it into the pile of gold. And when he threw it into the pile of gold, נהפך כל הזהב בדרך נס לעגל זהב שיש בו חיות ממש. Miraculously, the golden calf was created from all this gold, and it was alive. It was a golden calf that had actual life to it. And the egel would say, the golden calf would say, Anochi Hashem Elokecha asher hotzeticha me'eretz Mitzrayim. I am Hashem your God. I am who took you out of Egypt. Now, yeah.
Where do you find all this?
Everywhere, Baruch
I
Hashem.
don't know. It's crazy.
So the question is now, let's ask that question again, because we're going to ask it a few times before the
Yes,
test. So is the golden calf Moshe's fault?
Yes.
Ding, ding,
Yes.
ding. Yeah.
Everything is Moshe's fault.
And astounding, yes, because he saved Micha. Micha was,
But Micha did it, not him.
but he wrote he saved him.
Guys, it's Moshe Rabbeinu Kaf Schut.
Yeah.
No, he's good.
That's
He's
not-
good, he's good? Okay. Don't worry, we're going to find an answer this way and an answer that way. No, we're fine. But you can see that the question is becoming stronger, right? The question is starting to become stronger.
You said
Let's continue.
Well, you know what I just want to say?
Save this trader's
As a mother, as a teacher, as a person of experience, if there's a child or something that or even a grown child that acts a certain way, you blame the parents. I'm sorry, whoever raised them. It's Moshe Rabbeinu is like a parent. It's like
100%.
okay, so he's responsible. If my kid does something like that, I'm responsible. Yeah. Right? I mean, it's plain and.
All right, let's see how the plot thickens.
I don't know.
That's better than
Now, remember, there is Micha, who Hashem told them, don't save this baby. It's you'll, if you look into the future, there's going to be trouble. He was right. Right? Who are the other group of people that Kadosh Baruch Hu told them not to take him out? Erev Rav, the mixed multitude of people, right? This is when he said, when Kadosh Baruch Hu told him about the Erev, the Hainu, what's the Erev Rav, by the way? It's Goyim Uravim Yikol Min Ha'amim, a bunch of different people from a bunch of different nations. V'gam Erev Rav ala itam. We know in the pasuk it says that Erev Rav also came up with them from Egypt into the desert. V'af al pi she'Hakadosh Baruch Hu lo chafetz b'hem. Hashem did not want these mixed multitude of people to be around the Jewish people, because He knew that in the future they will only hurt Am Yisrael that are holy. Even though Moshe Rabbeinu brought them and put them underneath the wings of Shekhinah, and He says, no, you know the power of the Torah, the power of the Judaism is going to be able to convert them, and they'll be fine. So we have Micha and Erev Rav, two Micha is a person, Erev Rav is a multitude of people that Moshe and that Kadosh Baruch Hu did not want, and Moshe wanted. Micha, we see already, is one of the reasons with the task for the golden calf. Erev Rav, do they have a hand in the golden calf? Let's see. It says that the Erev Rav are actually the ones that they're the ones that instigated in order to do the Egel. They're the ones that were the proponents, the ones that wanted the golden calf.
Came up with the idea.
Why?
Yeah.
Because when it says that in the pasuk, "Vayara Am ki boshesh Moshe laredet min hahar," when the Am, and by the way, Orach Chaim HaKadosh tells us, anytime you see in the Torah the word the Am, nation, that's not the Jewish people. That's the Erev Rav. Meaning, when you read a pasuk and it says just the word the Am, that's
As opposed to
Am
what?
Yisrael, Bnei Yisrael, that's Am. So when it says the word Am, we know that it's only Erev Rav. So let's read this pasuk again. What did it say? Vayar ha'am ki boshesh Moshe. That Moshe was delayed. And by the way, they tell us that the word
What's the
boshesh.
word? I just was going to ask you. So it's
Boshesh.
like busha though.
No, boshesh means that they tell us that the word boshesh inside of it, there's the word shesh. He was 6 hours late according to their calculation. From Vayakel ha'am v'amu le'Aaron kum aseh לנו Elokim. So who are the ones that started the whole idea of the golden calf? Erev Rav. Who's the one that threw the tass into it? Micha. Let's ask that question again.
Yep.
Is Moshe to blame for the golden calf? Right? These are his homeboys. Right? The Erev Rav is his people. Micha is his assistant. Right? Well. Here's another layer. There's another layer how we could actually say Moshe Rabbeinu is the reason for Chayagid. And that's why he got punished for it so severely. In Masechet Shabbat, in the 86th page on the second side, it says that that Har Sinai, Ma'amad Har Sinai, Matan Torah, the receiving of the Torah, was in the morning of Yom Shabbat. Matan Torah, Shavuot, the whole scene of thunder and lightning and fire on top of the mountain and Hashem giving us the Ten Commandments. When was that happen? On which day of the week? Shabbat, Saturday. However, it wasn't supposed to be on Shabbat. Ma'amad Har Sinai was supposed to be when? Friday. The day before. So if it was supposed to be on Friday, how come it happened on Saturday? So this is very interesting. Rabbi Yossi אומר שמשה רבנו הוסיף לעם ישראל דעתו יום אחד נוסף על התקדשות. Moshe Rabbeinu added another day of sanctity to the Jewish people. Why? HaKadosh Baruch Hu asked Moshe, לך אל העם וקידשתם היום ומחר. Go to the people, tell them to purify themselves today and tomorrow, and on the third day they're going to receive the Torah. Today and tomorrow, and the third day is going to receive the Torah. That would have been Friday. Moshe Rabbeinu added a third day. Today, tomorrow, and another day, and then on the fourth day, which then would be Shabbat, is when they would receive the Torah. So we see that Moshe Rabbeinu took an additional day to what Hashem commanded him in order for the Jewish people to sanctify. And why would that be? So Rabbi Yisrael Mikuzhnitz in his book Avodat Yisrael says that Moshe Rabbeinu was starting to make calculations. He says the most incredible gathering of people, the holiest gathering of people to ever be in the history of the world, is going to be Ma'amad Har Sinai. And the holiest thing in the world is going to be given on that. The holiest thing is going to be given on that day as well. And the holiest day of the entire week is Shabbat. So he says there's no better way to put the holiest gathering of the holiest thing on the holy, which is the Torah, on the holiest day. Holy, holy, holy. Holiest gathering, holiest Torah, on the holiest day, Shabbat. Moshe Rabbeinu says it matches. It's perfectly a perfect match. However, HaKadosh Baruch Hu thought differently. And this is how come we always ask the question, what were they thinking? What was Moshe thinking to go against what Hashem tells him? Because we think like human beings. Hashem thinks like Hashem, like a God. He understands. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted the Torah would be dafka given specifically on Yom Shishi. Why? We know that Shabbat is holy. He says, but by giving the Torah on Friday, then the regular mundane days would also be able to get that holiness from the Torah. So while Moshe was thinking holy, 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 HaKadosh Baruch Hu was saying holy, but let's take what's not holy, the mundane, the Yemei Chol, and infuse some holiness in it. Also, we know that since the beginning of time, we are trying to do what? We're trying to constantly do tikkun of Adam HaRishon, right? Which also happened on Friday. Adam HaRishon sinned by not listening to God, and from that day up until today, we're still paying for that mistake. So, because on Friday and during the time of creation, Adam HaRishon and Chava ate from the tree of knowledge, good and bad, and it caused some sort of damage in all the worlds, and also death got decreed to be part of reality. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted that the Torah should be given specifically on Friday in order to rectify the sin of Adam and Chava. And by doing that, all the evil will be extracted or eradicated from the world, and the world will come to its complete tikkun, its complete rectification. Yes.
It would have been over.
It was, because remember, the Jewish people,
Right.
when they received the Torah, they went to the part of being before, Adam Rishon before the sin. Too bad you're missing the bomb. I know. Baruch Hashem. So what do we have over here? HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to make the ultimate tikkun. Because we know at the time that the Jewish people received the Torah, they reached the level, the status of Adam HaRishon before the sin.
Wow.
So had it been done on Friday, it would have been done completely. And that's what Hashem was thinking by doing that on Friday. But Moshe Rabbeinu added an extra day, happened on Shabbat. So because Moshe Rabbeinu added an additional day from his own accord, it says, "Hu zeh shegaram le'em Yisrael likasher b'chet ha'egel." He is the one that caused the Jewish people to sin with the golden calf. So here's a third layer, that because he added another day to this to Matan Torah and was giving on Shabbat instead of Friday, the question just becomes so much stronger right now. Is Moshe Rabbeinu the one is to blame for the sin of the golden calf? Okay.
Every ankle, that's more important.
Did God
There you go. Okay. Now we're gonna take it.
Did God punish him?
Moshe Rabbeinu, yeah, many times.
Many times. And he didn't.
Well, many times.
No, for that sin. What was he punished for that sin? Shalom.
The first, so to answer your question for many times, the first punishment that he did in this particular scene is that he took him from the 50th level of Chokhmah to the 49th level. That was his first punishment for this. Secondly, is that he can't enter Israel.
What else?
There's more, but we're going to go continue now.
I wanted to hear all of
Oh, it's Purim Katan then, no?
Yes.
Happy
Poor
Purim.
Moshe.
Happy Purim, everybody.
Put a copy.
I'm sorry.
So
Valentine's
we took a long time to build up the very big question if Moshe Rabbeinu was to blame for Chet HaEgel.
Yeah,
Now
but
we're
what-
going to...
Yeah, it says the
What?
pasuk.
Just a minute.
Kishichas Amcha that he goes down from his Gedulah.
Exactly. That we mentioned it.
I'm sorry.
He's telling us
Yes.
how God kept punishing Moshe, but for all the good he did God reward him with what?
We'll get to that. These are very big questions that take a lot of answering. But we want to get to the point over here. Let's go back now to the beginning of the Parsha. And now we're going to go we're going to go on a whole different, like a different exit. Right? We're going to go on a complete new journey, new concept, and at the end we'll tie everything back together. It says, Ki tisa et rosh bnei Yisrael. There was going to be a census of the Jewish people when they were in the desert. Ki tisa et rosh bnei Yisrael. When you count the heads of bnei Yisrael, and this is the whole concept of giving machatzita shekel, right? We have over here Chidushei Harim that says, take the words ki tisa et rosh when you count the heads of people, right? But let's play with the words a little bit. Ki tisa, tisa is to elevate, to go higher. So he says, oh, why don't you take the word ki tisa et rosh? Why don't you take the word rosh, right? And take it higher. Meaning what? Chidushei Harim says, take rosh and take it one step higher. What's the letter over resh? Shin. What's over aleph? Bet. What's over shin? Taf. Shabbat. Ki tisa et rosh. If you take the word rosh and you flip it, you take it up. Take each letter one notch up. What happens? It turns into Shabbat. What does that have to do with anything? What does Shabbat have to do with anything in this week's Parashat? Well, so there's a concept, there's a rule, a klal, שהקדוש ברוך הוא מקדים תרופה למכה. Before HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings some sort of a calamity, some sort of a trouble, some sort of a... he first gives, before Makkah, before the sickness, he gives the trufa, he gives the ailment, he gives the medicine, right? So we know in this week's parasha is going to be what? What's the big problem of this week's parasha? Chet HaEgel. What's the trufa? What's going to be the thing that helps it?
Sugar. No. Sugar.
It says over here, so Ki tisa et rosh bnei Yisrael. When you count the people, that's machatzita shekel. Why? Ve'atnu ish kofer nafsho. Each person has to give the value of his for his life. Ve'lo yeh b'hem negef. That there should not be a plague. So the first pasuk of the parsha says, "Hey, give machatzita shekel, so you be saved from a plague." Which plague? Why? Because we know in just a few more pesukim we're going to have what? Chet HaEgel. So Hashem says, first give machatzita shekel. Give me a chance to save you before the plague. Chidushei Harim says something else. He says, yeah, they took machatzita shekel and it helped save their lives. But I'm telling you, ki tisa et rosh, If you take the word Rosh and make it higher, we get to Shabbat. So there's a connection here now with Shabbat. Look at this. Masechet Shabbat, on the 118th page on the second side says, Kol ha-meshamer Shabbat kilchato, anybody who keeps Shabbat properly, afilu oved avodah zara kedor enosh, mochlin lo.
Wow.
Even if he worships idols or does idol worship, like the generation of Enosh, which is from the beginning of time, all his sins are forgiven if he keeps Shabbat. Interesting, because what do we have in this week's parasha? Worshipping of the golden calf. So what do we know is the thing
And
that
then Shabbat.
Shabbat, if you keep Shabbat, it what? It rectifies for Avodah Zarah.
Talks about Shabbos in this week's Parashat too.
Why?
I'm just saying.
That's exactly the connection. Why is Shabbat mentioned this week's parasha? To show you that even if you worship Avodah Zarah, what gets you out of it? Shabbat. But over here, they go a little bit.
What does it mean worship properly?
If you know, worship Avodah Zarah, idol worship.
No.
Keep Shabbos properly.
Keep Shabbos properly.
Oh, you have to know the 39
So right now,
melachot.
this is the Chet Ego.
Who knows? Depends what comes up on that screen. So it says over here, Shmirat Shabbat, hi kapara al chet ha'egel. When a person keeps Shabbat properly, meaning when you learn how to properly keep Shabbat, you have to learn how to keep Shabbat. You know, people think, just turning on the light on and off, it's like fire. Yeah, did you know that squeezing the sponge while doing dishes is the same thing? You have to learn how to keep Shabbat. What are you allowed to carry, not carry, walk? What are you allowed to talk, say, think, do? You have to know how to keep Shabbat. But the chidush here, that Shmirat Shabbat, keeping Shabbat, is the atonement for Chet HaEgel. And you know that Chet HaEgel was such a big sin that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to annihilate the Jewish people and start over with Moshe Rabbeinu. Because it was such a big, it's like he wanted to throw a big rock at the Jewish people. Moshe Rabbeinu told them, no. Erase me from your book if you don't continue with these people, with these sinners, and they received the Torah. So what did he do? Instead of taking a big boulder, he broke the boulder into small little rocks, and we're all paying for Chet HaEgel every single generation. Every single generation has difficulties in their life from the sin of the golden calf. So if we have to pay for the sin of the golden calf, what's the atonement for it? Keeping Shabbat. As the Masechet Shabbat says, כל המשמר שבת כהלכתו אפילו עובד עבודה זרה כדור אנוש מוחלים לו. This is something probably that you've never heard before in your life. Get ready. The Rama Mipano says, in regards to keeping Shabbat is a way that atones for the sin of the golden calf. The Rama Mipano from Asara Ma'amarot, also from Tikunei HaZohar, says, אמרו עליו בהגדה, the golden calf, שמחצה כלפי ראשו היה כתבנית שור אוכל עשב, וכלפי זנבו היה חמור. That the golden calf was half cow, half donkey. Did you ever hear that?
That was the title of your class. Okay.
Half a golden calf, half a golden donkey.
Moshe Rabbeinu was half man, half God.
Right. No, but it says that the golden calf that we're so famously know as the golden calf, the Rama Mipano and Tikunei HaZohar say that it was actually half a donkey and half a calf.
Where do you get the half a donkey from?
Well, we're getting to it. Mechetzio velemala, from half of the body and up, it was a shor, a calf or a cow, and half from its body and lower, it was a donkey, chamor. The Megaleh Amukot tells us, how could this be? How could this be that now we are bringing a donkey and a calf into the picture. So the Megillah Mukot says, well, the source of all our problems is who? Is the serpent, is the snake, is the devil himself, right? He's known as Nachash. And the Nachash stands for Nun, Chet, Shin. Nachash, Hamor, Shor. They're all the same klipot. Nachash, Shor, Hamor, they're all of the same. 3 of one kind. How do we know that? Because the Nachash HaKadmoni, the snake, has 2 klipot inside of him. The klipa of Ishmael, which is the Hamor, and the klipot of Esav, which is the Shor. In order to explain this a little bit better, if you recall last year, we spoke about what was the essence of the snake in Gan Eden. He was supposed to be the assistant of Adam Harishon, right? But instead of being the assistant of Adam Harishon, what happened? He created this whole situation with the tree, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu did what? Cut off his legs, and he's no longer. As a matter of fact, the Zohar says the Nachash was a Gamal. What's a Gamal? Gomel Chasadim. He was supposed. His essence was Ligmor Chasadim im Adam.
And he's supposed to serve as human beings and be an assistant and be there for.
He was supposed to be the assistant of Adam Harishon.
But
If you go to Masechet Sanhedrin on the 59th page, it talks about this. It says, Tanya Rabbi Shimon ben Manasseh Omer, Chaval al shemesh gadol shavad min haolam. Too bad for that big sun that was lost from this world. Shilmale nitkalkel nachash, if the snake didn't ruin his chance in the beginning of time, in the time of Bereshit, kol echad ve'echad mi'Yisrael hayu mizdamim lo shnei nachashim tovim. Every single person in the world would have 2 snakes side by him. Echad mishagol letzafon, v'echad mishagol ledarom. One would be on his right side to help him, one would be on his left side to help him. Lavi lo sandolbonim tovim, avanim tovot, margaliot. They would be able to bring him all the good things that he needs for his life. Velo od, not only that, אלא שמפשילים רצועה תחת זנבו ומוציאים בעפר לגינתו וחורבתו. Not only that, he'd be able to use those 2 snakes, quote unquote, to plow his field and his garden.
wow,
Are you guys familiar with the prohibition to have an ox and a donkey pull together?
I've heard of it, but I don't know why.
So it says,
But the donkey is not because the Mashiach need to come with the donkey. Also,
no what?
saying the pasuk the Mashiach will arrive with a donkey.
Oh, Mashiach. That's
Yeah.
something else.
Ah.
That's something else. The pasuk in the Devarim says, "Lo tachrosh b'shor v'chamor yachdav." It says that a donkey and a bull should not be pulling together.
right,
They should not plow together.
right.
Many things can be said about that. I don't want to go too into it. What it means to this lesson is that what? That there was, from the beginning of time, a concept where the Nachash, which stands for Nachash, Hamor, and Shor, which are all 3 negative husks, all klipot, they were actually supposed to be our assistants. But since the sin of Adam Harishon, they became our what? Not our, let's say our enemies or things that go against us. So the adversary. So we have the Nachash, which is the Yetzer Hara. The Hamor, those are the Ishmaelim, the Arabs, and then you have Esav, which is the Shor. And we see how we are challenged by throughout the history by Christians, by Muslims, and also the Yetzer Hara, our personal adversary at all times. Again,
Could you just explain, because of what happened in the garden, why are the ox and the donkey are...
it's coming up. It's coming up. 2 more minutes, 3 minutes, we'll hear it. You just have to explain it. Pay attention also. when is the holy day for the Arabs? Friday. When is the holy day for the Christians? Sunday. When's the holy day for the Jews? Shabbat. Right in the middle. We're always surrounded by klipot. We're always surrounded by negative spiritual energies, because that's how they live. They suck the energy from the center, from the kedusha. So Shabbat. Shabbat Kodesh, that we were just discussing, splits the klipa of Ishmael from the klipa of Esav. Because if they were together, what would happen? If they were together, if they both celebrated on Friday, if they both celebrated on Sunday, it'd be too powerful. And by the way, that's the reason why we don't allow a donkey and a mule to go together, because the klipa, the negative spiritual husk of that, would get so strong that their power in the world would get stronger. And that's one of the reasons for the prohibition. So Shabbat has the power to nullify the power of Ishmael and Esav. You want to nullify the power of the Christians, nullify the powers of the Muslims, Shabbat. Why? Because the Shabbat is the atonement for the sin of the golden calf, which we know that the sin of the golden calf had what? It had half of the shor, half of the hamor, which was the Ishmaeli and Esav, and we saw that who are the ones that put it together? Erev Rav, the multitude of people. So we see.
Why is it called ego? If it's the ego was pit, right?
Because the upper part of it looked like it, the bottom part of it, the legs, were the legs of the donkey.
But what was the point to make an idol like that?
That's what the mixed multitude, the Erev Rav, and the Tas gave it the Tas. Remember, what does the Tas say on it? Ale Shor, right? Come up, ox or bull. So that's one reason why it's the shape of a calf. And then the other thing was the klipot of Ishmael. So what do we have here?
A lot. It's a lot.
I don't do that.
I'll go back to the. You know what? I'll make it simple. Let's go back to the original question. Is Moshe Rabbeinu to blame for Chet HaEgel?
You said yes.
We said over there that there's a reason. What's the first reason?
He allowed Micha to live.
He allowed Micha to live. What was the second one? He brought the Erev Rav with them. Third reason, he extended the purification process one extra day, so Matan Torah was given on Shabbat and not on Friday. Those are the three reasons. When we go back and we start to thinking about the golden calf, we see, but wait, who was involved over there? The Erev Rav was over there, and what were the spiritual husks over there that were connected? We had the Shor and the Hamor, the Ishmaelim and Esav. But what do we see is the thing that is the thing that actually helps us rectify Chet HaEgel. Then, up until today, Shmirat Shabbat. Why? Ki tisa et rosh. What's ki tisa et rosh? Take the word rosh and turn it into Shabbat. That is now. That was the trufa lifnei hamaka. Right? They spoke about Shabbat before they even Chet HaEgel happened. So we see over here that even though there were so many reasons of why we can blame Moshe, but at the end of the day, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us what? Machatzita shekel and the Shabbat in order to rectify for it then and now. I think what's unique about this week's parasha, like I said in the beginning of the class, we're going to see the story of Chet HaEgel from a different angle today. We never thought that Moshe had anything to do with it, right? He's our fierce leader, perfect leader, right? We saw a few angles to it also. We thought that Chet HaEgel is an Egel, but the Tikkunei Zohar And the Ramami Pano show us that no, it had two different things after it. And you could say, oh, this is all bad, this is all bad. But you have to close the book and say, no, 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 no. From all this I learned, from all this that I learned is what? That even holy people like Moshe Rabbeinu make a mistake.
And we're still paying for it.
And even if they are, and even if you make a mistake, what do we see? That Kadosh Baruch Hu מביא את התרופה לפני המכה. No matter what mess you get into, Kadosh Baruch Hu already gives you how to get out of it beforehand. Machatzit shekel, Shabbat is mentioned before Chet HaEgel. And what it means, and the third thing that we walk away from is that even though that this is a story from thousands and thousands of years ago, we still have our share of fixing for Chet HaEgel, which is what? Keeping Shabbat properly. Meaning, sometimes we can make a case so strong, and you can be so sure that this is the reason, and that's the reason, that's the reason. You have to understand, on the highest level, like Moshe Rabbeinu, or to the lowest level, like the way we are all human beings. And we all make mistakes. But the mistakes are mistakes that can be fixed through, each one has a rectification for it. Before, לפני המכה, יש את התרופה. And if we just want to not make it too broad, but just about this particular thing, Chet HaEgel, that generation, and this generation, it's upon them and us to fix the Chet HaEgel by doing what? Keeping Shabbat. So next time you're in Shabbat and you're sitting on the table and you're enjoying the wine, enjoying the food, raise a glass and say, to fixing Chet HaEgel, l'chaim. Imagine. Who thinks about these things? We have Chachamim, Rabbanim, Tikkunei HaZohar that let us in to know that we are still fixing Chet HaEgel.
Really, we went to town here.
Yeah, Shashem V'Echavchem
We went to town.
Sameach
Thank
Lachem.
you.